All right, well, that last video didn't last very long now, did it, guys? If you haven't heard the news, I don't know how you couldn't have, unless you're living under SpongeBob's pineapple or Patrick Starr's rock. Mike Tomlin is out as the Pittsburgh Steelers head coach. He decided to step down and was not fired, which is an important distinction because it means the Steelers still own his rights, and if he decides to come back, they do have an opportunity to still trade him and acquire picks for doing so. But that's not what today's video is about. You see, we are finally looking for our next head coach. The Steelers are making a major change, and it leaves us wondering, what are we to do with this bed that Tomlin made and then left us to lay in? How are the Pittsburgh Steelers going to pick up the proverbial pieces? So I started to dig into the top options that I think are both realistic and somewhat to extremely exciting for the Pittsburgh Steelers to bring in as their next head coach. Now, before we get this video started, I want you to understand maybe some of these names will shock you. Maybe you haven't heard of some of them. Maybe you have. Maybe you hate the guy. Maybe you love him. But just bear with me as I go through the explanation as to why I think they could be candidates as the next Steelers head coach. Okay, starting with the first one, we have Chris Schula. If you want the Steelers to stay like, the Steelers, nasty defense, disciplined, they don't beat themselves, well, actually, I guess maybe the Steelers kind of have been described as that lately, but that's besides the point. Schula is one of the cleanest culture and scheme candidates out there. He would fit right into what the Steelers prioritize and prefer to have from the mind of a defensive coordinator as well as their head coach. Schula is basically a Rams lifer. He's been there since around 2017 and has climbed the ladder through almost every defensive job you can have, which matters because it means he's been trusted by multiple staffs and kept earning his promotions. The other thing is, he's a Schula. He's Don Shula's grandson, so he grew up inside of football, and people around the league treat him like a legit future head coach, not just another hot name. The question is, does he bring anything to the table offensively and schematically, or are you just risking another era of the defense is quote-unquote elite, but the offense is still stuck in the mud? Which brings me to my next candidate, and it's funny because he is also a Rams coordinator, specifically Nate Schilh. I'm sure I butchered it. He's the wild card with real upside. Nate right now is the Rams pass game coordinator, and he's one of those fast risers that people inside the league start talking about before fans even know the name. He played QB at Illinois, then coached his way up through college, and now he's in the McVay ecosystem in LA. This is why that matters for the Steelers. If you want a modern passing game, motion, spacing, answers versus pressure, this is the profile. He's also already getting head coach interview requests, which tells you teams think he's more than just a young assistant. The concern would obviously be he's not a household name, and he hasn't been an actual offensive coordinator or the guy yet in the NFL. So it is a bit of a projection, but if Pittsburgh wants to get ahead of the curve, instead of hiring the safe option, Nate is that big swing. Next on the list is an obvious one. He was with the Steelers for a while. Brian Flores. He's the one that comes with an edge, okay? He has a very aggressive defensive mind. I think players like him for the most part. My only question with him would be, can he handle being a head coach? He had a short stint as a head coach in Miami. Things weren't exactly pretty during his time there. There's absolutely no doubt that defensively, he would bring a lot to the table. He would probably motivate the defensive side of the ball, come up with new ideas, new philosophies, new schematics, but I'm just not sure that he has every single trait you need to be a head coach. But if the Steelers want to lean into being one of the most aggressive defenses to play in the AFC again, Flores is definitely built for that type of philosophy. Next on the list, and this one is a bit of a weird one, I will admit, but it's Kurt Cignetti. So Kurt is the head coach for Indiana. It would be a absolutely massive curveball by the Steelers to hire him. His whole brand is I show up and the program instantly gets tougher and starts winning. He's done it at multiple stops, IUP, Elon, James Madison, and he's known as an old school builder who sets a standard and doesn't budge. Now that does sound a bit of like a gimmick, if I'm being honest. I mean, every coach in the NFL will tell you that they set a standard that the players and the rest of the team need to abide by. My biggest concern with him is just his age. He's 64 years old, and for me, he's not particularly checking the box of that young, rising star, offensive-minded candidate that I would like to see come in and fill the Steelers head coaching position. But I think he was still worthy of putting on this list just because of the buzz around his name, because of the year Indiana had, and the respect that he has in the college circles and amongst other NFL personnel. So, you know, if Pittsburgh wants a program builder in that real traditional sense, more than just a play caller operating as a head coach, he's certainly an interesting choice. But I wanted to save the best for last for this list, okay? There is a guy that I wanted back when we were looking for a new offensive coordinator and ended up pissing down our legs and hiring none other than Matt Canada. And that man goes by the name of Clint Kubiak. And I strongly believe that he could come in and completely revamp and inject life into a Steelers offense that has felt like it's been drowning ever since the glory days of Ben Roethlisberger. He's right now having immense success on the Seahawks and leading their offensive scheme. He is also, yes, you guessed it, part of a coaching family. His dad is Gary Kubiak, so the identity is pretty consistent. He carries a structured offense, loves play action, loves rhythm passing, and he's very much so known for making life easier on the quarterback that is playing under him. And I think that's something the Steelers are obviously going to need. The other elephant in the room outside of Mike Tomlin stepping away is they don't have a quarterback on the roster right now that really gives you any sense of hope or future, okay? I know a lot of people like Will Howard, so no disrespect to y'all, but let's be realistic. He was a 6th-round pick, and he's not the most athletic or talented guy in the world. So in a league that's driven by freaks at the position now, I would like to see them go and take a swing and move up in the draft probably next year and bring in a young guy. And if you want to do something like that, you should have the pieces in place already with your head coach being someone like a Kubiak who knows how to make life easier, how to scheme around different talents of different guys, and will be a good supportive structure for whatever rookie QB you bring into this less than ideal situation. The Steelers missed out on him as an OC 4 or 5 years ago, and I know it would be a jump, right, to go from OC to head coach, but I don't want them to miss out on him again. The very least, they should be interviewing him and taking him as a very serious potential option. Pittsburgh has felt like it's been living on hard mode offensively for the last 10 years. And a Kubiak-style system is built to create simple reads, a real run-pass marriage, and predictable production. The question is whether he's the full leader of the building, right? Does he have, I don't know, the charm? Does he have the wits? Does he have the talents that it takes to be more than just an offensive coordinator? Does he have the ability to manage an entire team? Does he have the ability to pick the right coordinators to help and support him? Does he have the ability to manage a game from end to end? These are all things we don't know because he's just an offensive coordinator right now. But if you want to hit big, you know, sometimes you just got to swing for the fences. So personally, that's my guy, but I would love to hear what you guys think. You know, who is your guy that you want the Steelers to go and get an interview with? There's some names on here that were probably a little less known and some names on here that have been known for a long time around the league. So share your thoughts. You know, what do you think of the current state of the Steelers? And what type of coach do you want? Do you want defensive? Do you want offensive? Do you want young? Do you want experienced? There's so many lanes for the Steelers to pick. For me, personally, go young, take a swing, and see if you get rewarded. So thanks so much for tuning into this video, guys. Appreciate it. Coming live here from Art Rooney's office, just waiting to have my meeting with him because he wants to interview me to be their first cheerleader. So thanks so much, and until next time, guys, peace out.